Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the ABA Coffee in the Park. My name is Cam Milliken, and I'm here with my co-host extraordinaire, Jennifer Herrick, the Executive Director of the Acheson Business Association. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Cam. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a great day, and I'm really excited. We're here at the Wall Coffee Roasters in the heart of beautiful downtown Acheson. That's right. So if you hear some noises in the background, it's because we're at the coffee shop, and you might hear a coffee machine going or some kids screaming or that kind of stuff. Anyway, that we're doing it live right here, and it's great to be here.
It sure is.
And tell us about some very important people, Jennifer.
Well, Cam, we would like to thank our gold corporate sponsors, which include the MyShack Group of Companies, Genix, and Parkland County. These businesses do so much for the Acheson Business Association, and we could not manage to do the work we do without them, so thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate what you do. Anything new, Jennifer, that you want to tell us about?
Oh, Cam, do you know what I was doing last night when I got home?
No.
Grade 7 social studies.
Great. Are you still in grade 7?
I'm not, but my son is.
Your son is.
And
okay. I wondered
ya,
about that.
Boy,
How'd that go?
Not so good.
Not so good, eh?
Well, better for him than me.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Were you able to help him, or did he help you?
Well,
little combination of both?
Combination of both.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you remember your days of like
Jennifer, I don't even know if I made it through grade 7,
like,
so I'm not
the
sure.
Hudson Bay Company and all of that. That's what we were learning.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to go to them downtown.
Yeah,
that's the only Hudson Bay company I know.
Yeah.
So. Well, that's good. Well, he had you there helping him. That's pretty awesome. And today I am very excited because we have a great guest with us today. So Jennifer, why don't you introduce our guest?
We are excited to have another Acheson member in the house today.
Yes.
So our guest is Mr. Brett Oland, who is the president and CEO of Bow Valley Credit Union.
Hey, Brett, welcome.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, and really appreciate being here and being invited. And I just got to say, a shameless plug for the ABA. These guys have been fantastic for Bow Valley Credit Union and getting into the park, and it's just been, from day one, they've been very helpful, and really appreciate all that you've done for us.
We appreciate you saying that.
We
and
do.
For those, and we'll talk about this.
We will.
There actually is a credit union in Acheson, in
That's
the
right,
industrial
in
park.
the industrial park. And we are one of the few, if not the only industrial park in the province that has an actual bank or credit union located.
So cool.
I know, it's awesome. It makes it that you want to do business in Acheson.
Absolutely.
What a great place to do it. So Brett, thank you. It's good to have you here. You're located, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, where you're at, in case people are wondering. But hey, we want to know a little bit about you. Tell us about Brett Oland.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah, where'd you come from?
Well, originally I was born in Medicine Hat. I guess that doesn't change, but yeah.
No. Where you're born is where you can't change that. No. Where you're born is where you're born.
So right here in Alberta, an Alberta boy. Lived here most of my life. I was away for a little over 2 years, but came back. Love it here, and great place to live. And yeah.
So did you stay in Medicine Hat until you were like done high school, or did you move? Did your family move at all before that?
No, we pretty much stayed in Medicine Hat. I did a couple of years of college in Medicine Hat.
I went to college in Medicine Hat too.
You went to college in Medicine Hat. Did you know each other?
No,
Were you like the
my
same
first
year
2
or
years
anything?
in Medicine Hat. Great
Wow.
city.
Yeah. Well, it's a good city.
Awesome. So Medicine Hat, and then what?
I went to the UC, got a Bachelor of Commerce, continued to work in Calgary for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was there for about 5 years, so that's one of the big 4 accounting firms around the world. And then decided to have a change in life. One day I got a red light ticket in Calgary, and I said, enough's enough, and left. And so
You left Calgary.
I left Calgary.
Because of the red light ticket.
Did you not pay the fine and you're wanted or something?
No,
I
I didn't pay the ticket, but it was the last straw.
It was it. Eh?
So,
that was it.
And so,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So,
and that's back when like red light tickets were only $50 too.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
now they're about $50,000 to pay a red light ticket. But yeah. So you had enough.
Had enough.
You packed up the car.
Yeah, and with the accounting background, accountants are really sought after in tax havens, and so I went down to the Cayman Islands and lived down there for
Really?
a bit, and
Really?
that's sort of-
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah,
You lived
yeah.
in the Cayman Islands.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's a different type of banking that we're doing now at Bow Valley Credit Union. It's investment banking and
Right.
more around hedge funds and investments, of course, all offshore stuff, tax haven.
Right.
So tell us about the culture of living in
Yeah,
the
well,
Cayman
what's that
Islands.
like?
Was that
Yeah.
like a big cultural shift?
Yeah, for sure. I'd recommend anybody, at some point in their life, actually go live in a different culture. Not
Yeah.
just travel there, actually
Right,
live,
live there,
in a
yeah.
different culture, because it's really eye-opening to sort of see where other people are coming from and different perspectives and things like that.
Right.
And yeah, it's a very Christian-based island, to the point where everything stops at midnight on Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
to be ready for Sunday, for
Right.
God's Day,
Right.
and really great people down there. And I'm not sure if they've figured it out or if we've figured it out, because
Right.
the pace is just so much slower.
Right.
down there.
Right.
And so the community down there, they sort of have their car, they have their apartment, they have their TV, and that's all they want in life.
Right.
They don't want to travel.
Simple life.
They don't want to work too hard.
Yeah.
They just sort of want to hang out with family and friends, and maybe they have that right. you
Some
know?
days
You know
that's
what?
some
I
days
think they
that's
do have that
I know,
right.
some days that's like the thing, man. That's it. Wow. And how did you fit in with that? Was that
Oh, I had a great time down there.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. There was a hurricane when I was down
Okay,
there.
yeah.
And it was a big one. It was a Category 5 hurricane.
Wow.
Lost everything. Lost my apartment. Lost
Is
my
that
car.
right? Wow.
Lost everything I pretty much owned. So that's pretty interesting
yeah?
too.
How long did you live there?
A little over 2 years.
Okay.
I was down there.
Yeah. So you lost everything?
Yep.
Had to start from scratch?
Start from scratch.
Wow.
And it was a real directional change in my life, which was probably well needed.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
It's-
I agree with you. I think every young person should spend time in another culture. I think it's fantastic. So, yeah. So, Cayman Islands, hurricane, lost everything, decided I want to move back. Nope.
Yep.
Okay.
No, believe it or not, the heat gets to you.
Yes.
The lack of mountains gets to you. Even just driving sort of gets to you, because
Right.
you could probably make a loop around the Cayman Islands. It's quite a small place in about half an hour.
Right.
So it's just not
Yeah.
the open road like we're used to in Alberta, for
Sure.
sure. So
Yeah.
and decided to come back home and get things started in Alberta.
Right. So, what'd you do? What worked at Walmart or what? I don't, Cayman Islands to
Maybe,
Walmart. I don't know.
maybe,
I don't know.
I did work at a pizza place for a
Okay.
while.
Okay, all right.
So
Was this pre Cayman Island or
no,
post?
this was post
Post Cayman
Okay.
Island. Wow.
I joked that I retired when
Yeah.
I came back from the island and
Yeah.
sort of had a summer in my old stomping grounds in Waterton. And,
Yeah.
For a good friend of mine and his family, worked for them, just cooking pizzas
Right
for the
on.
summer. So
Multi-talented.
I tell
That's
ya.
unbelievable. Not everybody can cook pizzas. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah, how long did you do that for?
just the summer.
summer.
And then decided, that I needed to get my
Wasn't a career.
It wasn't a
together
career.
again.
Yeah, not a career
career.
choice. Yeah, no, Brett. Unless you open a string of pizza
That's right.
stores, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so you quit pizza and you moved into.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting, the timing of everything. Like, that was right around about 2006 I came back, and so that was just before the height of the great financial crisis,
Yes.
which was
Yes.
2008?
Yeah.
a pretty
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting to sort of see in the Caymans all the money that people were making hand over fist, and some of the funds that we were working on, like, we're making 12% per month in returns. And so
Okay,
it's-
so I'm going to ask you a silly question. I'm a layman and I know very little about this. I know that when I watch gangster movies and things like that, they're always talking about having offshore funds in like the Caymans. Now, sorry, this is how I know that. So it's legit, right? It's legit.
Yeah.
The Caymans is legit.
no, it is
Yeah.
legit, and the thing
And so
is,
what's the advantage of having funds or money in the Caymans?
well, you can there's illegal jurisdictions and there's legal jurisdictions.
Right.
So the Caymans is a legal jurisdiction where
Okay.
you can actually invest your money offshore, and generally it's for wealthier family offices
Right.
and
Yeah.
hedge funds
Right,
and things
right.
like that.
So tax savings,
Tax
those kinds of
savings.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, I
and
understand.
that's it.
That's
and
where we
and I was never really part of getting the money in or
Right.
out
Okay.
of the Caymans. I was more boots on the ground.
So you weren't doing anything illegal. It had nothing to do with your red light, speeding ticket, anything like that. You were all good
Just
to go.
want to clarify
Yeah,
that.
I just
No,
want
no,
people
no.
to know that you're not wanted or anything like that. Okay, no. But I think that's interesting because
It
you
is.
do hear about people setting up accounts in the Cayman Islands or whatever, and it's just interesting to
It
know
is.
why they would do that. So.
Yeah, and it's just to earn tax free.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and it's actually pretty astounding when you get your first paycheck
Yeah.
and there's no deductions on
Yeah.
it. No CPP, no EI.
Wouldn't that be the
no-
dream?
No kidding, eh? Then you come back to Canada and it's like, are you kidding me? Like 50% of my paycheck's going to the government. Unbelievable. Okay,
That's a whole
so
other
sorry
show.
for the sidetrack there. So you're cooking pizzas, you're done with pizzas, then you're...
Yeah, had a short stint in sort of a professional job in Medicine Hat, and then I did meet my wife prior to this, but I actually met her while I was down in the Cayman Islands.
Really?
But we ran into
Okay.
each other again in Edmonton, and that's why I moved up to Edmonton. It was
Okay.
largely because of her. And got a job at Canadian Western Bank, and that's more into what I'm
Okay.
into now.
Right.
Is retail banking.
Okay.
And I was exceptionally fortunate to get involved with Canadian Western Bank, just because of the fact they were a smaller organization at the time, 6 or 7 billion,
Right.
which is small in financial services terms. So I got to see it all. So I got to see. In the finance department, you see budgeting, management reporting, board reporting,
Right.
cash flow, accounts payable, you name it.
Sure.
You saw it. And,
Yeah.
and you just don't get that opportunity in
Yeah.
say, a bigger bank.
Right. Yeah.
Like some of the big majors in Canada.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
And how long then did you stay with Canadian Western Bank?
better part of about 5 years I was with them. It got to a size, its business models was to double every 5 years.
Okay.
And it got to a point, and I think it was about 16 or 17 billion when I left. And it turned into too big of an organization for me.
Right.
And
Right.
I know my sweet spot. And when I thrive, it's in sort of that... medium, not quite large organizations,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I do much better.
Yeah.
Wow,
places
that's great.
like that,
And you know what? I mean, kudos to you for knowing that, because a lot of people might be on the, the
Career
the
ch-
career
yeah.
chain,
Yeah.
up, and bigger and better type of thing, and yeah, obviously that wouldn't make you happy. So you knew where like you say, your sweet spot was. So that's fantastic. So you're there for a while, 5 years, and then they're getting too big, and you want to.
Yeah, and fortunately for myself and my family, we did pretty well during the great financial crisis, and especially we were blessed with Canadian Western Bank, and then moving to a different sort of stage in our life. And I think what the tipping point from that, there's a lot of these tipping points in my life.
Yeah.
My wife and I had our first son, and we were living in downtown Edmonton, and we went trick-or-treating. And
Okay.
so we sort of tried to go around the condo that we were living in. And
Yeah.
You go to somebody's door and you knock on it, and they look at you and go, "Yeah, what do you want?" And it's like, well, the kid, he's standing here, the costume.
Like a
Dressed
Disney
up for a
costume.
reason.
Yeah.
It's October 31st, folks. Okay, yeah, okay.
So they're like, well, I don't got no candy
Yeah.
for you. And, they try and accommodate. It's like, oh, here's a granola bar, kid. And same thing.
Got a can of beans. Are you
That's right.
interested? Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So, yeah, that was sort of a turning point for us. And it was like, well, yeah, maybe we just can't live in the city
Right.
anymore. And so we decided change in lifestyle. And the second kid was on the way. And decided to go down to the mountains. And I was fortunate enough to get a position with a not-for-profit foundation called the Peter and Catherine White Foundation.
Really?
And it's also basically the parent company of the White Museum.
Right.
in Banff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us a little about that. Like,
Sure. Yeah, no, it was definitely a different stretch for me. I was mainly hired to turn the place around to some degree financially.
Right.
And I did a little bit of that with PricewaterhouseCoopers is actually the turnaround guy.
Sure.
You know, you hear and see about those guys in the movies too.
Yeah.
So largely you get parachuted into positions and basically correct the
Right.
finances and
Rescuing the company or, getting it back on its feet.
So how did you find working for a not-for-profit
Yeah.
compared to like?
Bank.
Right.
Who's not really not-for-profit.
No.
They're like for-profit. Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the less regulation, that's for sure. And definitely a different mindset, different objectives, which sort of I had to get my head around. That
Right.
it's not all about the profit.
No.
And,
Not at all.
No.
And so now I've sort of found a pretty good mix of where we're at with the credit union, which has both altruistic motives as well
Right.
as
Yeah.
profit motives,
Yeah.
which is a pretty good spot for me.
So were you living in Banff at the time then? Was that where the foundation was?
Well, no, I commuted for the 20-kilometer commute from Canmore, so we set up in Canmore.
So you're
Okay.
living in Canmore.
Yeah.
And we continue to live in Canmore today. Been about
Right.
there for
Yeah.
about 14 years.
And you'd commute to Banff every day.
Yep, for about 8 years.
Man, that's a tough commute, eh? Like, jeez, that's like...
Man, the
I
views
had
would
to
be
slow
great.
down because of the elk on the road. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, the views would be great if all the mountains weren't.
I
That's
know, in
right.
the way, right? I know, it's crazy, eh? And those tourists, those crazy tourists every year. But anyways, wow, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you worked for a nonprofit. That's really awesome. So
Yeah. So in that position, and I sort of need to keep myself grounded to some degree, and all the while I was working at the Peter and Catherine White Foundation, I was on the board of the Bow Valley Credit Union.
right.
Okay.
And it sort of morphed into a higher position as well, because I also got on the board of Alberta Central, which is
Okay. Yeah.
effectively the administrative and body behind all the credit unions in
unions,
Alberta.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
they manage all the investments and payments there. And I was on the board for about 7 years, and I was chair for about 3 of that board, and we're pretty proud of what we did there as well. So
All right. So let's morph into that. So Bow Valley Credit Union.
Yep.
Tell us about Bow Valley Credit Union.
Sure. We're $600 million organization. Again, that's pretty small in compared to the 1.2 trillion. That
But
would
nothing
be,
to sneeze at.
No.
I mean, that's
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
pretty
decent.
We're considered a large credit union, but
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's we're not the size of RBC, and so we have our limitations. But also that comes with its benefits too, just
Sure.
because you pick up the phone and you actually know the other person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bow Valley
good.
started where?
It started in Banff in 1953.
Okay.
So we've been around a little over 70 years.
Yeah.
And it was Banff Park Savings at that time. After that, we sort of merged with another credit union out of Acheson, and now that's if you know Acheson, it's right outside of Canmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Next, it sort of moved into Canmore. We also got a branch in Cochrane, where our current head office is. We acquired a branch in Airdrie, and now we have 2 branches in Airdrie.
Yeah.
And I think in 2010 we merged with another credit union, Key Savings, in Calgary, and so we have a branch in Calgary. And our latest branch is in Acheson. It's our 7th branch.
Right.
We have plans for a Red Deer branch in January 2024, and a South Calgary branch in Lake Bonavista or Avenida.
Wow. So great expansion.
Absolutely.
That's really great.
Yeah,
So-
no, we've been growing leaps and bounds. We're about 18% membership growth last year.
Fantastic.
For 2024, we're on pace for about 11%
Sure.
growth, and then we'll keep that going.
Yeah. So the Acheson branch, of course, is literally 30, 40 yards from where we're sitting right now.
Well, Cam, we used to share office with
That's
the bank
right. We
when
used to,
they first came
Bow
in.
Valley first moved to Acheson, you and I shared offices.
We did.
I felt like I was a banker. I was giving out loans and things like that. So no, I wasn't. I didn't do any of that.
He
But
didn't
leaving
do
at
it. He didn't do any
2:30,
of that.
yeah, leaving at 3:30, arriving at 10, 2 hours for lunch. It was a good life until we had to move. Now I'm back to regular hours. But no, it was exciting to watch that happen and see you guys move in. Beautiful downtown Acheson has its own bank.
See?
I know, we're
We're
growing.
growing
I know.
in
Just wait till
beautiful
we start
downtown
building
Acheson.
condos. It's going to be unbelievable. But anyways, tell us about that. So you have a credit
know.
union in an industrial park.
Yes.
Like,
why?
be honest. You don't have to. You don't, because I know. But just, was that a bit of a risk for you guys? Was it like, what were your initial thoughts on that? Because we kind of hounded you a little bit to come.
Yeah, well, it makes a ton of sense if you
Yeah.
think about it, right? So Acheson, better part of about 400 businesses.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
10,000 people coming
Yeah.
here today.
Yeah.
Close to a major highway. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In a lot of regards. And banking's changed over the years. Not everybody just wants to do everything online.
Right.
They
Right.
want bricks and mortar
Yeah.
when they're dealing with stuff. There's always stuff that you need to sign. You want to talk to somebody and look them in the face when you're doing things. So
That's so true. I mean, there is a segment of our population, and I know that having when my mom was elderly, she didn't use her computer or anything like that. But all of my relatives, most of them, some computer savvy, they would
They don't
rather
want an online bank.
No, they want to talk to somebody.
Right.
So I think that's really great because a lot of the major banks are kind of shutting down their tellers and moving to a very online presence. You guys have an online presence, but you're still very
People focused, I would say.
face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll take that bet all day long.
Yeah.
We hear countless time after time, hey, you know what, I've been on hold for 8 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, all I want to do is X, and I can't do that
Right.
online. And it's a real shame, and I think that's fine. They've sort of got a bit of the McDonald's brand of banking.
Yeah.
But the thing is, banking is emotional. It's people's money. It's people's livelihood.
Sure.
They need to not run through the drive-through
Yeah.
to do banking.
No, I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And because our offices were there in your startup here in Acheson, we got to see that
We
firsthand.
did.
And
Yeah.
we watched people come in who that's what they wanted. They wanted an interaction with a live person, and that was really cool. Let's talk a little bit about Bow Valley, because you guys, gold is a big part of who you are. And talk to us about that a little bit. Why is gold such a big part of Bow Valley?
Sure, and this actually stems back even to what I was doing in the Caymans and the great financial crisis. And I sort of saw money, hand over fist, come in and out of the Cayman Islands. And you sort of scratch your head and go, wait a minute, not everybody is doing as well as this. And so it puts you on edge, and it doesn't really sit well with you. And then the great financial crisis happened, and although we were largely insulated in Canada, there were a lot of winners and a lot of losers.
Right, yeah.
In the U.S. especially.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of another touch point. And then COVID came around, and we saw the massive amount of currency printing. And people staying at home, so not being productive, staying at home, money being printed, and getting cash into bank accounts. And we knew that was going to be massively inflationary, and we continue to think we haven't seen the end of inflation.
Right.
We've offshored a lot of things to China. We've finally woken up and are starting to bring manufacturing home and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Businesses back home, and unfortunately, that's going to be massively inflationary. And I can safely say, if we look back from the 30s and go, wow, that was an inflationary decade.
Yeah.
So we wanted to protect not only our membership, but our organization against what we see is going to be some perpetual inflation going forward.
Yeah.
And throughout history, that has been gold in the past.
Yeah.
And so not only do we use the profits of Bow Valley Credit Union to purchase gold and silver and precious metals, but we also encourage our membership. And we heavily rely on our partner Silver Gold Bull to be able to do that. So you can buy physical
gold
metals.
Yeah.
And keep
that's
it at
important,
home.
because most banks, it's a piece of paper, and some people want to touch their asset. So you can do that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And for the more tech savvy people, this week we should be able to launch what we're calling our e-metals account.
Okay.
And so you can actually purchase fractional ounces of gold and silver, up to 1/100 of an ounce.
Wow.
Well, and that's important, especially for younger people today. You know,
for sure.
A fraction of 1/100 of an ounce of silver is about 45 cents.
Yeah.
Today. So maybe you can't afford $50, but you can probably afford 45 cents.
Yeah.
And so at least you can sort of gradually contribute to it and not
Guess
pay
where I'm
high
going
premiums.
after this.
Yeah. Is that up and running already? I want to get into that.
It should be this week.
Okay.
So.
Hey.
If you need test cases, we're here.
That's right.
If you need beta people, we're right here. We'll beta for you. So.
You're pretty much staffed.
Send us your money.
I got 45 cents. I got my Bow Valley piggy bank. I think
right.
there's some money in there. No, that's pretty cool though.
It is.
Because
I like
it does
that.
allow people to. Some people just think they could never ever own some gold or silver or precious metal or whatever, just because you got to buy a full ounce, which is I don't know what the price is today. But
$3,700 or $3,800
Yeah.
for
You
a
could
full
just
ounce
never
of
do
gold,
that,
and,
so-
and you can buy that fractional piece
Wow,
of it.
that's fantastic.
And have it and easily transferred back and forth between
Yeah.
your Bow Valley Credit Union account too.
That's
so.
cool. That's really cool. So we're running out of time, but I just want to, again, you have how many branches across Alberta?
We have 7 branches and then 2 more coming in the next, say, 6 months.
Okay.
So we'll have 9 pretty soon.
And I actually want to ask a question. How is the Acheson branch been for you?
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. So mentioning earlier today that if this growth keeps up within Acheson, it'll be our biggest branch within a year.
Fantastic.
That is fantastic.
You know, downtown Acheson is growing by leaps and bounds. Now we got one of the biggest banks in the world here. Just kidding. I mean, but it's growing. It will be one day when we build our condos and stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I just think that's phenomenal. And I credit to Acheson and businesses. I like that. But more credit to Bow Valley for being willing to do that. I think you guys are a bit of a pioneer in
I
this.
agree.
And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I kudos to you guys for doing that.
Well, we hope so, and we still think there's time in bricks and mortar, and happy to help where we can, and especially in a great community like Acheson.
Yeah, it's great.
So, Brett, we have one final question for you. Tell us the best piece of advice you've been given, either personally or professionally, that you carry with you to this day.
Oh boy, I've had tons of great mentors, and I think probably one that just popped in my head is get things right, not perfect.
Yeah.
is probably
I like that.
a really good.
That's good.
piece.
Yeah. Get things right, not perfect. That's good. Yeah. Well, that's absolutely fantastic, folks. If you're interested in Bow Valley Credit Union, it's www.bowvalleycredit. No.
BowValleyCU.com.
Yeah, there you go.
And they are located at 27717 Acheson Road.
Right next door to
Right
the Wall
next
Coffee
door.
Roasters.
That's
so you
right.
go open your bank account,
Come get a
deposit your
coffee.
money, come get a coffee. Yeah, fantastic. Or if you live in another part of the province, you heard Brett talk about where there's going to be branches or are branches.
Wait a minute, Camp. They can go to Bow Valley, get their coffee, and come to the middle to the ABA office and say hello.
That's right. Come to the ABA office, become an ABA member, or an associate
That's
member
right.
if you're not from Acheson, and we'll have a great time together. Bow Valley, ABA, Wall Coffee, fantastic. Matter of fact, if you sign up at the ABA and with Bow Valley, I'll buy you coffee. Just say
What a
put it
guy.
on. I know,
Isn't
just put it
he?
on Cam's
I tell
card. That's all it takes right there. Now don't bring the whole family. I can't afford that, but nonetheless. But I'm going to buy gold, so maybe I will be able to one day. But I think this is fantastic. And folks, honestly, all joking aside, Bow Valley is an amazing organization, an amazing institution. Brett, gotten to know you a little bit over the past couple years, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love talking with you. You're a fantastic guy, and we really appreciate you. And the ABA appreciates you.
And we love having Bow Valley and Acheson.
We love having Bow Valley and Acheson. And we love having you now as neighbors, because we're not in there anymore because we got kicked out of our offices. I'm not sure I've mentioned that, but enough. But anyway, it really is fantastic. So everybody, thanks for listening. We're really glad, and we look forward to you listening next week. And yeah, Jennifer, anything you want to close with?
Just again, Cam, we are almost at 4,000 listeners.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
It is.
Again, you and I thought it would be 5 people.
Yeah, our family.
So thank you to everyone that tunes in each and every week to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And we want you to continue to tune in and share it.
Yes, thank you. So wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else, if you don't know how to do the podcast thing, go to our website at www.achesonbusiness.com, and you can download the podcast from there. Make sure you tell your friends, your neighbors, your family, your enemies. If you don't have any friends, make one and tell them about it. And until next week, everybody, see you later.
See you next week.